constant dependency on miracles reduces our humanity. Constant dependency on miracle reduces your humanity. When we constantly depend on miracles, we reduce our humanity. And when churches and other people or religion or superstitions and traditions bring you to a place whereby you are constantly depending and looking forward for one miracle or the other to happen, especially in the new year. Now that the new year is coming, many people have the tendency of looking forward to some fortunate luck to come their way. And like I said in the morning by Ralph Emerson, what he said is that those people who are constantly waiting for miracles, they are weak people. They are weak people, they are surface people, they are shallow people. People who constantly wait for miracles. Real people, humans, are supposed to live their lives by the laws of cause and effect. They are supposed to know that if you don't do anything, nothing comes to pass. And that if you really want to have anything new in the new year, you've got to do something. And that anything that you are going to have in the new year is directly dependent on what you do today or what you do now. And what you don't do will also let you know what you will not have next year. So for you not to do what you need to do and be expecting for miracles to come is stupidity, is actually insanity. So when you are brought to that level, you have reduced your humanity. You have reduced your capacity to be human. You have reduced your person. Your personality has been damaged and has been compromised when you have been reduced to just expect miracles to happen instead of you causing your own miracles to happen, instead of you working on your own miracle, instead of you taking charge of your own life and becoming the owner of your miracle and becoming the source and the author of miracles in your own life. Unfortunately, when it comes to New Year time like this, during the time of New Year, as like this one, what do people do normally? People just want to, you know what people do. People are expecting, some people are praying and expecting for things to happen in the New Year. Other people are, going to some magic house or houses, but in some countries and the church has been reduced to magic houses. So most people might not go to the black magic places anymore. They might not go to the voodoo places anymore. They might not be going to the what do you call them? To the people who read palm readers and people who try to look into the future. But we go to churches and the pastors, for example, in my country, Nigeria, where I come from, every pastor has made it his own duty now to prophesy. Every pastor has made it his own duty to talk about things that will happen next year and things that will not happen. So it's almost that if you don't come up with a list of prophecy, it's almost like you are not a man of God, as if God does not speak to you. So everybody now is into that train wagon of prophesying, of trying to predict one thing or the other. So they're just trying to make it look as if, it's still the same Babalawo practice. It is still the same witchcraft practice of going to the house of the soothsayers and seers and, juju practitioners and voodoo practitioners and palm reading and people who are just occultic people that will be able to tell you the future. It is still the same thing, only we are doing that now in the church. So the church has now become the voodoo shrines and the voodoo shrines where people are prophesying the future. You will never see that in the New Testament. You don't even see that in the Old Testament. That is not in the Bible. That every year somebody will come forward, that some prophets in the Bible. Have you seen that in the Bible anywhere? Where some prophets in the Bible are, busy, predicting what will happen next year or predicting what will happen. And everybody is predicting the same different things, as if God is not speaking in unison, as if God doesn't have an idea of what he's telling the other one. Everybody is saying the opposite. One person might say next year will be the economic prosperity. And another one will say next year will be more difficult. So these people are claiming ownership of God. They are claiming that God is the one talking to them, but they are all playing guess games. They are all missing it. Almost none of their prophecies come to pass. So why? Because people are being reduced from Homo sapiens to just animals, to just biomasses, to just people who cannot use their senses. They want you to believe that your future does not depend on you. They will almost make you to believe that the future is not in your hand. The future is in the hand of some mystic words or prophecies, some mysterious prayers, or some mysterious expectations and some mysterious declarations. So almost everybody now wants to go to some churches where they will make some proclamations and declarations on their head, and where they will tell them what will happen and that things will be good and all that. So it is a mess. It is a mess. It's a mess, as if you are not in charge of your life anymore. But in the real sense, God wants you to be in charge of your life. In real sense, God wants you to be the owner of your life, the one in charge of your destiny. He doesn't want you to put your life and destiny in the hand of some mysterious words or some mysterious prophets or some, pastors who are just telling you that they know what will happen to you, and as if those prophecies are the things that determine your future. As there are some people in this world who have never received prophecies, who never look up to prophecies, and they are doing much more better than all of you who are receiving prophecies every month or every year. So all those prophecies that you have been receiving every year, all those prayers that you have been receiving every year, what has happened to them? Why is it that people like Bill Gates and Zuckerberg and other people are making it better, much more better, are having much more success, are having much more breakthrough than you that is having all the prophecies? They are not having any prophecy. They are not having any breakthrough prayers. They are not sowing any seed. They are not planting any money. They are not giving some prophet offering to some pastors anywhere. They are not allowing themselves to be duped by some religious practitioners. They don't allow that to happen to them. But they are doing better than you with all your prophecies and with all the words of prophecy and proclamations that have been given to you. It's not helping you anyway. So the message today is that when we begin to depend on miracles, we remove our own destiny from our own hands. We let it go. We let our destiny leave our hands. We let our destiny leave our as if we're not in charge of our destiny anymore. As if our destiny, okay, I don't know what will happen. No, you can know what will happen. Set your goals. That tells you what will happen. Set your goals and work and put your programs and your plan in place. Plan everything out. Put your routine and work hard towards it. You own your destiny. Your destiny will be in your hand that way. You can plan what will happen to you. You plan. You are in charge. Don't let yourself be reduced to thinking that you are at the mercy of fate. That is mysticism. That is mysticism. That is not Christianity. We are now practicing mysticism. It is mystic. It is mystic to be thinking that it is some fate, some destiny, some God, some luck, some event will happen. Something will just happen from nowhere. So it has gotten so bad right now that some of us are waiting and going to prayers, and we are waiting that in the new year maybe something will just happen from nowhere. So all of us are now living in those false expectations and false imaginations and hope that, okay, maybe in the name of Jesus, maybe this will be my year. Okay, why will it be your year? Tell me why it will be your year. Give me your arguments. Give me your arguments why it's going to be your year. What have you done towards that? What have you done? What have you done to make it your year? What are the things that you have performed? What are the things that you have done to prove that you are qualified for that particular breakthrough or victory or whatever that you are dreaming of? But some people say, oh, if God, no, maybe I will just find a bag of money I will just get lucky. I can just see some money in my account. If you see money in your account, then what you're supposed to do is to go and report it. If you are supposed to go and report it to the administration of the bank, and you're supposed to report it to the managers of that bank and tell them that you have mistakenly transfer money to my account. I don't know how that money got there, and you should know that somebody has made some mistakes. And if you go and take that money and use that money up, you know what? You are going to jail. You must return it. If you don't return it, you are going to prison, because somebody is going to discover, and they are going to find out that money that was put in your account, it needs to be accounted for. And if you go and spend the money thinking that, oh, God has answered your prayer, your pastor's prayer, you will disgrace yourself, and you will disgrace your pastor as well. Just like the other day, I was reading the news, I read the story in my own country, Nigeria, of a man who was working at Sheraton Hotel, maybe as an accountant or something like that. And he found, is it $2 million that in the account that they couldn't account for? They didn't know who was the owner of the money, and he was the accountant. And you know what the guy did? He went and gave tithe. He didn't even just give tithe. He gave 50% of the $2 million to his church. Or he gave $1 million out of the $2 million to his church, because he was saying that it's a supernatural provision, because his pastor has declared that some of you will find favor, you will reap where you have not sown, there will be some unexplainable provisions, and there will be some money will come. You will just begin to discover money, you will begin to discover opportunities, something that you cannot explain. And this foolish guy who called himself, I'm sorry for calling him foolish, but this ignorant guy who called himself educated, and he called himself accountant, went and took it from his own company. He robbed his own company. He robbed his own company. He robbed his own company and took the money to the church. He robbed his own company and took the money to the church. Because of the type of messages that have been preached in the churches. Because the church has told him that you should expect some miracles. Because the church has told him that there will be unexplainable, unexplainable miracles. There will be unexplainable, breakthroughs. There will be unexplainable provisions. So, which was true. That money was unexplainable. Which was true. That money, it didn't, there was no immediate explanation to why that money could come. And he didn't know that money was transferred there by an individual who was owing the money to the hotel, and decided to pay the money at that particular time, because he had his breakthrough in his business, or he had something in his business. So the money came. And this guy didn't know the explanation, and the only explanation he could get is not to use his logic. It's not to use his mind, that money doesn't just appear in the account like that. That money will not just account in your own account from nowhere. As an individual who is an accountant, he's supposed to have that common sense, that God doesn't print dollars in America, in heaven. That God will not make any kind of... It doesn't matter how anointed your prophet is. It doesn't matter how anointed your man of God is. It doesn't matter how anointed your bishop or GO or whatever is. It doesn't matter how many prophetic words he had given. It doesn't matter how many, all those things he had told you, that unexplainable miracles will happen, unexplainable provisions, and it is not that prophecy that brought that money in your account. Let me tell you that one right now. It is not his prayer that made that money to appear. And so this guy said it was the miracle of his pastor's praying that made the $2 million to appear in the account. Maybe it was $2 million. I think it was $2 million, and that made the money to appear in his account. And then this money that appeared in his account, he went and gave $1 million out of the $2 million to his church, and and he became a hero. They put him in the group there to go and testify. He's the big guy, and they started using him as the example of other people, why other people should go and also find money somehow, that they will also have. That's why you find contractors from the government. That's another story. But anyway, this guy was caught at the end of the day. This guy was caught. And when the guy was caught, you know what he said? He said, I've given it to the church. So then the government and the management of the hotel went and spoke to they put it in the newspaper, and they went to the church and said, The 1 million that your member brought is a stolen money. Oh. Where is it? Where is the money right now? At least return the $1 million that he brought to you. And the pastor said, I don't care where he took the money from. Yes, we can affirm that he brought $1 million here. Yes, we can confirm it. Yes, he gave 1 million as his offering, as his tithe and offering. But, we don't care if he stole it or if he didn't steal it. We cannot give anything back anymore. It is the church money. We don't care where the people take the money. And the church refused to give the money back. The church refused to give the money back. Why? Because they believe that that is one of their provisions. Providence and provisions, the supernatural provision of God that they are talking about. You see, we reduce ourselves. We reduce our humanity. We cease to be human when we begin to overly depend on supernatural provisions or miracles. We reduce ourselves. Because we deny ourselves the use of our mind. We deny ourselves the use of our brain. We deny ourselves the use of our logic. We deny ourselves the use of our common sense. We reduce our humanity. We remove ourselves from the league of men. We dehumanize ourselves. We insult the nature of God in us. So this guy refused to reason, to use his mind. Because the pastor has said that there will be supernatural, before the end of this year, there will be supernatural provisions. Before the end of the year. Yeah, it happened. The thing came, it just in 2 weeks' time they discovered, but in 2 weeks' time the money was already gone, and and the church would not even return the money that they took from the guy. Now, let me tell you other stories. There are hundreds of other people who are, let me tell you one story like this. And there are hundreds like that other guy. There are hundreds that people have not discovered, or they discover every day, and people just, think that it's God that has provided for them. Because of the messages we preach on our pulpit is what determines who our people become. The messages that we preach in our church, if we preach the kind of messages that you can get something for nothing, people begin to look for opportunity to get something for nothing. People begin to look for such opportunities of how to get something without doing anything. If you are always preaching to people about supernatural provision of money, about supernatural money coming, about money coming in an unexplainable way, without them working for it, then people will not work. People will be looking how to get things they didn't work for. People will be looking to get and to harvest where they have not sown. People will be looking to bring in money and to find money that does not belong to them. And that we reduce our humanity. Because if that is the message that is being preached in our pulpit, that, raise your hand, just raise your hand. Everybody raise your hand. So people raise their hand and you say, in the name of Jesus, this year, you are going to, before the end of this month, or before the end of this year, you are going to receive, an inexplainable amount of money or finances, breakthrough. Somebody is here today who is expecting $200 million, $200 million, $100 million. I see $1 million, I see $2 million, I see $10 million, $20 million. You are here today, and that million is going to come out. And it's not just that person that raises up his hand. Everybody in that auditorium raise up their hand and say, yeah, it is me. Yes, in the name of Jesus. But they didn't mention him, they just said somebody. So it's me. Who is that somebody? So when such a person now goes to his office and he sees some unexplainable money in his place of work, he thinks that it is the miracle prayer that is pastor or man of God has rendered that has made that money to come there, especially since there is no explanation. And instead of him to go and record it and bring the money to the authority, and he is saying it is God's provision, and instead of taking the money to his leader or to his director or to the accountant or to the authority of the company, he takes the money to the church. He takes the money to the church. and go and give testimony. He go and give testimony. He goes and gives testimony. And the church and the pastor begin to rejoice. Hey, yeah, ooh, our man of God is a powerful. You remember when he said it? He said it. He said it. You remember? He said it. You remember? Go and take the tape. Go and listen. Another person that also is, you always hearing this thing, because what we consistently hear, we believe. Even though you used to have common sense when you came to that church, but when you keep on hearing consistently, day in, day out, that your breakthrough will come. God will do something that is not explainable. God will do something that you didn't deserve. That you will not get money where you deserve it. You will get what you do not deserve. You will get what you did not work for. You will get this and this. Things will just come unexplainably. So by the time you keep on listening to that all the time, you begin to believe that yes, things must come out in an unexplainable way. That yes, it almost becomes normal for you. You now begin to think that is the normal thing. That is the normal way. That things must come in on an unexplainable manner. That provisions must come. That blessings must come. That money must come. That opportunity. That things will come that you did not work for and did not labor for. So there was a man that got a contract for $100 million. $100 million contract, and they gave him pay ahead, part pay. They gave him the part payment, the payment just ahead. They gave him some payment ahead. And out of the 50 million, or so that he was paid, the first thing people do, they call it first fruit. So the $50 million that the guy was given to do the first work, he went and gave it to the church as first fruit. And he became the hero. Yeah, testimony. Yeah, what are you other people doing? Look at this brother. He gave $50 million, or he gave this thing, and he first fruit. And then when the contract was going, he couldn't complete the job. He could advance payment. Yes, he went and used the advance payment to pay first fruit. He went and used the advance payment to pay tithe. Hey, God forbid. Amazing. So now, all the contracts all over Nigeria, all the contracts are not finished. The contracts are half finished. All those people and the contracts cannot finish. Then they go to the government again. Oh, the thing has become expensive. Oh, we have to increase the cost of this contract because you did not do your first obligation. Because you believe that, oh, I got that contract because the pastor prayed, so I must put God first. That is not putting God first. That is being unhuman. That is losing your common sense. That is being stupid. I'm sorry. That is being unhuman. That's what I mean. When we all are expecting miracles, when we are waiting, expecting for something to happen, when we have not deserved it, when we have not followed the rules, we are just we're embarrassing God. We are embarrassing God. We are doing misservice to God. And those pastors are rejoicing. And those pastors are saying that, you're a good guy, you're a good member. And you become the favorite member of the church. And you put you as examples. Nobody even questions where your money comes from. It's amazing. It's embarrassing. We lose our humanity when we begin to look for miracles, or look, for example, for some when can you believe this? My God, can you believe this? Was it? Maybe it's still happening now. But 1 year when I went to Nigeria, just around this time, November, December, before the New Year, I would go to that place. They will say there is all-night prayer for visas. For what? Visas. Okay. Then we go to the other place, another state. Oh, this big man of God that I used to respect. I mean, I love him. He's one of my favorite pastors from Nigeria. One of my greatest preachers. I think he's the most talented speaker in Nigeria. Christianity, for me, most respected. And I went to his church. I thought I was going to tell him the gist and tell him that, Pastor, see what people I saw in Lagos or I saw in the other place. I went to his own church. that I saw him saying, as will you come with your passport? Go and get your passport. You are going to get visa. I said, this pastor also is doing this. People praying, doing crusade, doing all night, doing special services for people to get visa. So people don't want to qualify. In fact, they are praying for visa, they are praying for contract. How can you pray for somebody who get contract when he's not qualified? Contract is supposed to be given by merit. Contract is supposed to be given by tender. It's supposed to be a tender thing. Contract is supposed to be won. And you are calling all the people in your church, you are going to get contract for this, you are going to get contract for this. So if he's not qualified, you should go and get the contract too. So you want the guy who is the worst guy, who is the weaker guy, to win the contract for that church, and you will see the church collapse. Have you heard of the churches collapsing? Because they get the contracts by miracles. Not by merit, not by competition. When we begin to depend on miracles for everything, we reduce our humanity. And those pastors and those teachers who are teaching all these things, who are popularizing and propagating all this foolishness of miracle breakthrough, they are doing the biggest disservice to our country. They are the root of 419s. They are the root of 419. These pastors who preach that you are supposed to, get something from nothing, that you can do nothing and get something for it, and you call it miracle or you call it breakthrough, they are standing at the root of 419 and the Nigerian scams that are going about. I just heard today, somebody told me today, that she was going to a church in England, and half of the members of that church are 419 people. 419 and drug card pushers in London. And this lady went to the pastor and said, don't you know that these people are talking about it freely, that they are doing credit card scheme and 419 scheme and drug pushing. And the pastor said, I know. So why don't you preach against these things? He said, if I preach against it, who will pay for the rent? Who will pay for the bills? Will you pay for the bills? So it's no more Yahoo boys anymore. It's no more Yahoo people. It's Yahoo pastors now. And these are evangelical pastors. These are Pentecostal pastors. These are charismatic pastors. Epoto is God. He said, Pastor, it's God favor. They say God will bypass all protocol to favor you. How can God bypass protocol? If there is a pastor that is preaching that thing, that God will bypass protocol, that means God should bypass the order of things, how things should be done. So you want to gain the contract without protocols, without the order of things. Rules should be bypassed. You know what happens when rules are bypassed? When protocols are bypassed? When rules are bypassed, that it leads to the collapse of church buildings like we just saw. Buildings collapse. Train stations collapse. Planes fall down from the air. Trains collide. Roads become pit holes. Accidents in roads. Buildings come down. Planes come down. Lives are sacrificed. When protocols are bypassed like that. When rules, when order are not observed. when processes are ignored, when procedures are bypassed, we stop being humans. When we wait and depend for some miracles to happen that we have not worked for, that we have not labored for, we reduce our humanity, my dear. We reduce our humanity. We reduce our humanity. Some people are waiting this new year that somebody will come from somewhere and will just appear from somewhere. Maybe some long lost relative. That's why they are chasing after all their relatives in America, in Europe, because they are looking for favor. So they are waiting, they are asking for prayer, they are not studying, they are not adding value to themselves, they are not converting their time, they are not building capacity in themselves, they are not developing themselves, they are not engaged in self-education, they are not laboring, they are not practicing, they are not acquiring skills. And instead of doing all that, these people are busy looking for favor. These people are busy looking for blessings. These people are busy looking for anointing. And some people are waiting. Even some of you are listening to me right now. Some of you are waiting that, maybe in the new year, I pray, favor will come. So what is favor? That somebody will just call me up from somewhere and give me a job. Give you a job for what? Are you qualified? Are you qualified? What proves that you are better than the other guy? Somebody, God has prophesied, or the man of God has spoken. So what did he speak? Somebody will call me. Somebody will call you. Somebody will call you. So, somebody gave a testimony. Somebody just called in from Japan, and said, we are looking for this and this. And that's it. Yes, those things could happen, but don't wait on those things. Don't expect those things. Don't, depend on those things. When you begin to depend on those things, when you begin to wait on those things, you dehumanize yourself. You reduce your humanity. You give God a dirty slap. So some people are waiting for some relatives who have been lost 10 years ago, 20 years ago to come to reappear from somewhere and just say, okay, I want to give you visa to America. So when you get there, what will finish? We'll find out when we get there. That's why you get there, somebody will tell you to carry drugs and you will not have any option. You will have to submit and agree, because you don't have plans, you don't have programs, you don't have capacity, you don't have skills. You are going to church to pray instead of you to go to the library or laboratory to develop yourself. By the way, I wonder why you people are not sharing this message. Nobody is sharing this message. I wonder. People are not sharing the message. I think we should all go and share the message, because we need to set the church free. We need to set the church free. We need to help our brethren. Let's go share the link, please. Let's go share the link. Let's go share. Yeah, a few people shared, but majority have not shared. Let's go share. So, and some people will be getting annoyed at maybe some people are even getting annoyed at you now. Okay, you are in America, or you are in England. Why are you not doing visa for me? Or why are you not calling me to come? Or why are you not, whatever. Why are you not doing visa for me? Or why are you not sending money to me? Because you need to be qualified. Because you need to be qualified. Okay, why didn't you do it? What will you come and do here? Oh, don't worry, I'll just come and make my way. You come and be carrying drugs? You come and find your way? Which way? Just like people call upon me all the time, Pastor, just do visa for me. The only thing I need is visa. Visa? Okay, what will you do here when you come? Don't worry, I'll find my way. How will you find your way when you don't speak the language? How will you find your way when you don't speak the language? You know what language they speak here? Oh, don't worry, Pastor. You know, other people are surviving now, so I'm going to survive. Wow! 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 Ooh. Oh, I know God is with me. God is... You mean it? You mean it, huh? And some of the people are angry at you right now that you are not taking them into their business. Okay, you are doing well in business. Why you are not taking me to be a partner? But we're schoolmates. We went to school together. Or you know me now. You know me. Why don't you take me into your business? Hey, baby. Now by force? Is it by force? He has to take you into his business, and so you are angry with him that he's not taking you into his business? For what? What have you done to qualify for that? Oh, miracle, I believe God. This year, I was believing that this year was going to be my year. I was believing that God was going to use you to bless me. But now, God will say, anyway, since you say it's God will not, God will now just bypass you. It's because of you that God has not done. Any unnecessary and too much dependency on miracles, any propaganda of expecting God to do things for us instead of us to do things for ourselves is reducing us, is reducing our humanity. We have been given everything, all things for life by God. We have been given authority to be in charge of life. We are not supposed to be beggars in life. Even we are not supposed to be beggars to God. Talk less of beggars with people. Can you imagine what the Bible says about that? In the scriptures. Psalms 8. I'm going to read a scripture here. Psalm 8. Psalm 8 from verse 5. For you have made him, that's talking about man. Man is man. In God's expectation, man is supposed to be respected. Man is supposed to carry God's image. Man is supposed to carry God's likeness. Man is supposed to be a picture of God. Man is supposed to be an expression of the creativity of God, the power of God to bring things to reality. Man is supposed to be a demonstration of God in action. Man is supposed to be the picture of God's creativity, of God's wonders, of God's magnificency, of God's mightiness, of God's majesty. Just because we are in charge and we are free, being created to perform like him, to act like him, to act with his authority, with his ingenuity, with his creativity. But we go ahead and reduce ourselves. Instead of acting like God will act, instead of acting in the name of God, instead of taking charge of the word. We are not just supposed to take care and take charge of our lives. We are supposed to take charge of the whole world and subdue the earth for God and exploit the earth for God and exploit the sea of the ocean, the rivers and the sea, the oceans of the earth. We are supposed to stand in the name of God and exploit the air of the atmosphere. We are supposed to come in the name of God Almighty and explore the firmament, the heavens, the galaxies and the stars and the planets and all those things are supposed to be under the exploration of man, because we have been given authority to rule over all things that are created by God. We are not supposed to be waiting around somewhere asking God to come do for us what we have been charged to do. We are not supposed to be waiting, expecting some mercy and some favor from some individuals. We are not supposed to be waiting even beyond God to be asking God to come and do what He has asked us to do. We are not supposed to be praying to God and fasting 40 days and 80 days. I fast 40 days, I fast 21 days, but you are not supposed to be just be waiting for God to do. If you need to fast, it's why you are doing, for you to be able to do better what you are doing. It's not for you to wait for God to do something for you or to give something for you. If you need to fast, it's because you need to do more. You need to be able to understand more. You need to perform more, not for you to wait for God to come do these things for you. We have been made rulers of the universe. We have been given authority over the earth. We have been made the ones to manage, to rule, and to exploit the earth for God. But when we are waiting for New Year to come, and we say New Year is coming, God, do this miracle. I'm expecting you to do this miracle. Come and do this. Get your acts together, my friends. Sit down. Think on yourself. Think on what you can do, what you need to do. Do analysis, do research, get education, upgrade yourself and work on yourself. Put a goal before yourself. Put before yourself a target and pursue that. Then pray. Then pray that God will bless it. Then pray that God will lead you. Or pray before for God to give you the understanding of what to do, for God to give you insight, revelation, understanding of what you need to do. And once you hear and you have the understanding of what you need to do, go work. Go do the things. So in Psalms chapter 8, verse 5, it says, for you, God says, for you have made man a little lower than the angels. You think we are inferior? You are not just inferior to other people. You are not inferior to anybody. You are not inferior to your rich neighbors or to your rich brothers or to your wealthy pastors or to your church. You are not supposed to be inferior to anybody. You are not inferior. You are not supposed to be waiting around, waiting for something to happen. You have been created to rival angels. In fact, in some cases, it has said that we have made a little above angels, a little superior to angels. Even if it is lower than angels, but just a little bit lower than angels. We are supposed to act like Homo sapiens. We are supposed to act like people in charge. We are supposed to use our brain. We are supposed to use our ingenuity. We are supposed to use our creativity. The nature of God is in you, my dear. How are you going to wait even on God to be begging for little things to happen? God has already done his part, my dear. God has already done his part. God has already done his part. God has already done his part. Use what he has already given you. What have you done with what he has given you? What have you done with the grace he has given you? What have you done with the abilities he has given you? What have you done? Go and at least develop yourself. Let's start with that. Go and at least develop yourself. Go and get the skills needed. Go and develop your capacity. But to be going to those mountains and prayer houses for 40 days, 100 days, and 21 days, and our humanity is being reduced. And the proof to this is here. He says, you have crowned man with glory and honor. And some of you are still going to church to pray for glory and honor. The thing that has been given to you. You have already been crowned with glory and honor. And you are going to some pastor to lay hands on you to get glory and honor? Excuse me. Excuse me. Excuse me. Excuse me. Excuse me. All right? You have it. You have what it takes. The nature of God is in you. The glory of God is on your head. The honor of God is on you. So why you don't have it? Why it's not being manifested? Because you are not working it out. Because you are not going to work on it. Because you are not developing yourself. Because you are not increasing your capacity. Because you are not working out these things. Now, number 6 says, you have made him to have dominion over the works of your hand. So if you have been made to have dominion, and you are now putting yourself under the dominion of the creation or under the dominion of other people, what does that mean? Doesn't that mean that you are reducing your humanity? The doctrine of waiting for miracles or always begging for miracles, praying for miracles, expecting miracles is reducing your humanity. It's reducing your humanity. It's reducing your humanity. And by reducing your humanity, we are reducing the potency of God in us. We are reducing the might of God in us. We are reducing the grace of God in us. We are reducing the power of God in us. We are reducing the almightiness of God in us. We are reducing the dominance, the superiority of God's nature that is in us. What is said about us is that every one of us, everyone, everyone has been placed so high by God. God has done his part. Don't you tell me God has not done his part. Don't you tell me God has not done his part. Don't you tell me God has not done his part. Don't you tell me God has not done his part. God has done more than is necessary. God has done more than we will ever need. And the people who don't believe in God, the people who don't even go to church, they are the ones exploiting these opportunities. They are the ones using their nature. They are the ones maximizing their nature. The Christians are the ones who are refusing to acknowledge their own God, what their own God has already done for them. We Christians are the ones who undermine the grace and the power of God. Even though God is the author of miracles, God is the one that performs miracles and is the author of miracles, but miracles are only needed in exclusive instances. We are supposed to work and function by principles, first of all. Then when you have done your best, after you have done all you could do, and you still need some extra, then you can call upon God to send the miracles. But be waiting around for miracles, be lingering for miracles, and why you have not even done 10% of your capacity, when you have not even done your best, when you have not even used all the resources at your disposal, it's a slap on the face of God. So God is saying, you have made man to have dominion over the works of your hand. Everything that God created on the earth. We are supposed to be getting ourselves engaged. We are supposed to be engaging our minds. We are supposed to be busy finding out, researching, digging deep into how to explore nature better, how to have dominion over nature better, how to have authority, how to be able to take advantage of the authority that we've been given, how to be able to explore and use it more. We're supposed to do researches more, to read more, to study more, to exert ourselves more, to get into personal relationship with God more, to hear his voice more, to hear his direction more, to hear his wisdom, to key into his wisdom more, so that through that we'll be able to now come and have total dominion and rulership upon all creation that he has given us power and authority over. You have made him to have dominion over the works of your hands. You have put all things under his feet. If he has put everything under your feet, every attempt that tells you to be waiting for miracles, therefore, is reducing from this status that God has given you, that where God has put you, is reducing our essence, is reducing you from where God has already put you. If God has already put you over to have dominion over all things and put all things under your feet, and now people are saying that you should be the one crawling on the ground, you should be the one with your hands stretched out, waiting and looking for favor and begging for something, it means that those people are countering God. It means that they are contradicting God himself, and they are contradicting the mind of God. They are contradicting the nature of God. They are contradicting the placement of God for your life. They are reducing you from where God has already placed you. They are putting you down from your throne. They are demoting you. They are demolishing your position. They are reducing you greatly. So if he has said that he has already made us to rule, to have dominion over all things, what are you doing begging? What are you doing praying God for it? He has already done it. He's already done his part, my dear. He has done what he needs to do. He's done more than what he needs to do. And you are still going to cry on his shoulder as if he has not done what he needs to do? That way you are accusing God that is wicked, that he sent you to the world and he didn't give you everything that you need to function. You are trying to tell God that he sent you here and he's not done his due diligence. He's not done what he has to do. He's not equipped you enough. He has not given you. There is something he has not yet done for you. There's not something he has not given you. There's not something that you still need to go and beg him for. That you are the one that need to go and beg him for something. That you are the one that needs to go and beg him for something, that he had not seen ahead of time what you need, that he did not consider what you might need ahead of time. He already knew what you needed before you could even imagine that you needed it. Before you were even created to this world, before you were even born to the world, he already knew what you needed and he already put those things in place for you. So you are not the one to come here and trying to be saying you are begging God to perform, that you are begging God to do something. You are not the one begging God to do something. He has already done everything. And that's why it's a slap in God's eyes, in God's face. It's a spit. It's spitting in God's eye, in God's face when you are going to beg him and ask him as if he's unhuman, as if he's unfeeling, as if he has to be begged, he has to be appealed to, he has to make sacrifices have to be made to him and for him to perform what he needed to do. Don't make my God look that bad. Don't make my God look that horrible. You are not talking about the same God that I know. You are talking of the God of idols worshippers who have to go and beg their gods, who have to go and make sacrifices to their God, who have to go and appeal to him every day because he's deaf, because he's blind, because he doesn't know what's happening. But we are treating God the same way, as if he's deaf, as if he's dumb, as if he's blind, as if he doesn't know what is happening, as if he has to be persuaded, as if we are the ones that are kind enough to be begging him to be kind, as if we have to lend him some kindness, as if we have to lend him some love, as if we are the ones to lend him some mercy, as if we are the ones to beg him for mercy, that we should beg him and pray that mercy will come. That's not the kind of God that I have. There we are talking about the God that has already considered all that. We are talking about the God that's already given you all that. And what you need to do with our God is to just love on him, have personal relationship with him, find out from him how you could act even more, how you could understand him more, and how you could perform more like him, and how you could justify his trust the more. And instead of us justifying his trust, we are going to beg him as if he's deaf, as if he's dead, as if he's unconsiderate. But it's even one thing to be asking God for something or begging God, but most of the time we are just at the mercy of other people. We are at the mercy of some pastors, we are at the mercy of some prophets, we are at the mercy of some prophecies, we are at the mercy of some events and some hopes and some expectations, and we are at the mercy of things that were created. Look, God has already given every man, every one of us, everything that is needed for life and for godliness. We can't be the managers of our lives. We can't be in charge of our destinies. When we are made to just wait on miracles, when we are made to always be praying and that we always need to be expecting miracles and wonders, especially in the new year time, they are making us to be superstitious. They are making us to be living by illusions. They make us to live by illusions rather than living by understanding. They make us to live by myth rather than live by truth. So set yourself free from that illusion that there is something that God has not done for you. Set yourself free from that illusion that you need to go and beg God for him to be kind. Set yourself free from that illusion of expecting something to happen without you doing what you need to do. Set yourself free from that illusion that some miracles will come from somewhere whereby you have not gone through the process. Stop reducing your worth. Stop reducing the nature of God in you. Stop degrading the work of the master. Stop degrading the finished work of the king. You have been made. You have been given. You have been crowned. You have been crowned with honor and glory. You have been crowned with honor and glory. Stop living beggarly. Stop crawling before these men of God. Yes sir, yes sir, yes sir, yes sir, yes sir, yes sir. Offering, gift offering, first fruit, second fruit, this, that. Stop crawling on that ground. Believe God. Trust God for what he says you are. Believe him for his word. Trust him is not a liar. Trust him that what he said is true. Just go to work. Just go to work it out. Life in illusions and in expectation of miracles make us lazy. Life in expectation of miracle reduce our worth. Life in expectation of miracle make us to compromise God's standard for us. Life that is waiting for the expectation of miracle is making us to be against the nature and the rules and the principles of God. Life in expectation of miracle is to expect blessings, provision without due process. We want God to be a cheater. We want God to cheat for us. We want God to cheat those people who are working hard. We want God to cheat those people who are doing what they need to do, who are doing the due process, so that it will favor us, even though we don't do the due process. We want God to reward us for what we do not deserve. We want God to give for us what we have not worked for. We want God to reward us where we have not merited it, and bypass those people who have merited it, and we call it favor, and we call it miracle. Even though those things could happen. Yes, I know the story of Jacob and Esau. I know the story. I know the story of favor. I know the story. But these things are not the norm. We are not supposed to be living by those things that are not the norm. We are supposed to live by the greater principle that God is a God of justice, that God is a righteous God. God is not a respecter of people. That God is a rewarder of those who diligently work for it. You will never become the best that you could become if the only thing you are doing is to constantly look forward for miracles, or to be begging for miracles, or to be looking for from favor, or to be begging for favor. You will never be a responsible individual. You will never be responsible enough. You will never be God's pride. You will never be able to go beyond yourself. You will never be able to live for something greater than yourself. You will never be able to exceed your limit. You will never be able to do the extraordinary. You will never be able to be a hero. You will never be able to perform any feats on earth. And so, when we wait for miracles, when we live a life of expectation of some things to happen or to be given to us, when we have not done our own due process, we reduce our nature. We disgrace our master. We spit in his eyes. We give him a slap in the face. We reduce our humanity. We reduce the glory that is put on our head. We reduce our own honor. We uncrown ourselves. We put ourselves down from the throne. We put ourselves under the feet of creation instead of putting all of the nature and creation under our feet. We do a disservice to God. We show him ungratefulness, ingratitude. We display blatant lack of gratitude to him when we are asking him to come and be doing for us all the things that he has already done over and over for us again and again. So as the new year comes, I want to encourage all of you to take charge of your life, to become the sons of God that you are created to be, to believe in God, that he is not a liar when he said you are made in his image. I want you to believe him, that he is in you and the greater one is in you, that you can perform like him because you are made in his likeness. I want you to believe God, that you can have dominion because you have been made to have dominion over all things, that the authority is given to you. The gifts are there. Just go and develop the potentials. Go and develop the skills. Go and add value to yourself. Go and add to your capacity. Go do your own part. And you will see miracles following you every day without struggle, without begging, without fasting, without praying for all those years. You can pray and fast, but not for miracles, but for preparation.